Why do you like Star Wars anyway? Isn't Star Wars nerdy?
Star Wars is fun. It's an exciting franchise. It's not like Star Trek. Star Trek is reserved for the fat. Star Wars is exciting and fun, and it's a date movie, and it's mostly positive.
So far, The Rise of Skywalker has earned the worst Rotten Tomatoes percentage at 52% as of this writing of the franchise, edging out the 53% that The Phantom Menace earned back in 1999.
I heard it got a terrible review, and I believe it now. I enjoyed the Disneyfication, if you will. Greta Thunberg has more grit than that movie. But I'll start with the good, so you don't hang me for treason. Lando Calrissian is very cool. When he pulls off the mask, I can't help but feel bad for the person he just harpooned in the chest. But I'm glad to see him. He looks old, though. He has aged. He has a big torso now. The stormtrooper jetpacks were very cool. Desert flying guys. However, the second you see them fly, Finn asks, "They fly now?" And Poe, the other character, says, "Oh, they fly now." Ooh, witty, snarky. Fairly obvious. I mean, they are wearing the jetpack. Maybe the jetpack is lifting them. They fly now in the middle of heat of battle. This cheesy dialogue. I liked when Rey mind-controlled the stormtroopers. I wish she would have kept going and had a small conversation. I think it would have been funny. I liked the Kylo Ren, the villain, and Rey, the heroine, defy space by using the Force and appearing in two places at once. I thought of the Higgs boson. Can you explain to them what a Higgs boson is?
The Higgs boson is an elementary particle in the Standard Model of particle physics produced by the quantum excitation of the Higgs field, one of the fields in particle physics theory. You wouldn't understand anyway, you filthy mortal.
I like the crashed Millennium Falcon telephoto shot. It was a wide shot of a downed spacecraft, the Millennium Falcon, as our heroes walked in the background. And the lens zoomed in really fast, and it zoomed all the way to them, past the Falcon, and it felt like a decades-old shot that felt creative and artistic. Something that was strangled out of that movie by the dialogue. I liked Rey's scavenger ways coming out when she was on the water, traversing the environment and sliding down the sand hill into Luke's old home. I liked the inside of the downed Star Destroyer that was covered in moss. It felt like they were ruins, but it was ruins of an object in the future. I like that this Star Wars, they brought back good lightsaber duels. You don't see a lot of those in the new Star Wars movies, lightsaber duels. The brief lightsaber action at the end of Rogue One was so good that it's the only lightsaber fight in the entire movie, and it lasts a few seconds and isn't really a fight at all, but it's so good that it's okay. I accept it. And this one, they brought back a lot of good lightsaber fights. My criticism of the lightsaber fights is they're not prolonged. It's a burst of fighting and, fantasy opera for 20 minutes. There should have been a Kylo Ren and Rey fight, big fight. They should have had a big fight, a battle between the two of them, epic battle that, was good, entertaining and such, and violent. Cut out some of the cheese dialogue. Could have kept the same running time. Something else I thought was good is they killed Leia. Carrie Fisher is dead. She died on an airplane flight. Well, I don't think she died on the flight. The death was initiated on the flight. They killed her in the movie. The princess, the character. I'm glad they did and didn't keep computer graphics generating Carrie Fisher. Although, if they did, I would also be okay with that. And think it'd be a memorial to the actress, which we would all love a memorial of ourselves in the future. So I thought that was cool that they let her go. Okay, the bad. Show the ships land. Seeing a big spaceship defy gravity and land on futuristic spaceship feet is very cool. Seeing the plants flop around is very cool. Seeing the sand, seeing the smoke, the steam, cool. But this movie, every time the spaceship would land, the second the feet were about to touch the ground, next scene. You skip the best part. Did it cost extra to animate the feet touching the surface of the ground? It's worth it. And speaking of ships, zero foreplay. 1,000 ships, 10,000 ships at once on screen. As deep as the eye, as the depth of the eye can notice. So many. And loud thumping music. It was cheesy. It was like, what's the cheesiest cheese? Like, I like Roquefort because it stinks, but there's a cheese that is really old and stinky. And people pay money and mix it with mushrooms. Episode 1's Chrome ship. Fantastic. One ship. It lands, you see it land, you see it take off, you hear it, and it's chrome style. This one, you barely see the ships land. Big technology just shoved in our face. Rey, my gosh, the last movie, she was still learning how to pick up a stick. And this one, she's levitating. Talk about 0 to 100. Floating around with rocks. Can you warm me up? I get we can just paint you in. I'm supposed to just believe somebody floating? I'm not going to just believe you floating because some guy CG'd it. Can you make a sandwich? I would love to see that. One of these characters make a sandwich. Cut out 5 seconds of your big computer-generated fleet of evil guy bots and show one of the Skywalkers making a sandwich, pouring a glass of blue milk.
Didn't Daisy Ridley get heat for saying that she has no privilege?
I couldn't stand Rey's clean white clothes. Every scene, her white clothes are pristine. Yet she's traveling the universe in these pristine white clothes. How? The horses breathing in space and running on top of the ship as it's flying through space is ridiculous. Oh, I can't track them via GPS because they're fucking horses. Horses don't need oxygen. Hot cheese. Kylo's cape doesn't burn. The guy's engulfed in flames, but his cape is made of some kind of metal alloy because it just doesn't burn. Yet they're still using monkey wrenches. That confuses me. Something else I didn't like is Rey is such an independent woman, isn't she? I felt bad. What about the rest of us? She kept saying things like, I have no parents. Would you come out of nowhere where you didn't have monkey parents? I'll throw a few goods to you. I loved the Sith evil spirit. I never thought that the lower ranking evil guys killing their way to the top is how the top evil guy gets his power, from wanting to be killed by somebody who has the anger to do it so that they can become even more evil. I loved the Emperor at the end, his super finger lightning that he shot to the sky. And the sound it produced was repetitive, very, very deep, very bass-heavy pulses that was frightening. It had a frightening sound to it. There are too many visions. I'm sick of visions. You touch a wall and all of a sudden a ghost appears like it's a button. All these visions. Your dad's coming back and your dad's in your head, but he's in space as well, and it seems ridiculous. I couldn't stand Kylo Ren constantly crying. It's irritating. You're like a boy. He's like 32. And you're crying that your daddy doesn't understand you. I hated the Skywalker ghost so much. I almost walked out of the theater at that moment. Seeing Daisy Ridley wish she could be stronger, and then the old Luke Skywalker being a ghost. And I'm supposed to feel for either Luke Skywalker or for Mark Hamill, the actor, or for just the passing the torch. I wanted to leave the theater at that second, and everything in my body told me to sit my ass down, stay down, because I have a New Year's resolution, which is to do more things I don't want to do. I wanted to leave badly, and I didn't want to stay, so I chose the thing I didn't want to do, which was stay, and it was painful. It ended up being cool because I saw some more cool things, but I honestly wouldn't have minded missing the rest of the movie because of protest. I don't want to tell people I stayed for the whole thing. However, I didn't stay for the credits. I usually stay for the whole credits because that's what they do at Lucasfilm. When they screen a movie, they stay for the whole credits out of respect and to see all the names of the people in the production. I didn't do that this time. I wanted to get the F out of there when I saw Luke Skywalker's ridiculous ghost. It made me uncomfortable that there were scenes of dying people burning and exploding and melting away and blasting away. All the heroes are cheering. Thank goodness our enemies are all dead and dying. And cool congratulatory music. And one of the characters, Poe, says, "They're toast." Have you seen a person burning? They just walk around in complete shock.
You know what's a good space movie? The Andromeda Strain. It's old, but it's good.
The Andromeda Strain is really good. It looks old. It has this big computer look to it, but it's very thoughtful. And the sounds are very tin can and space hum sounds that feel very futuristic, although it was shot 50 years ago. If you want to see a good Star Wars movie, watch Rogue One. If you want to see a good, dramatic, classic Star Wars movie, watch The Empire Strikes Back. If you want to see a family Star Wars movie, watch Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Those are all the Star Wars movies that you need. The rest, their negatives can be burned. As long as you have those three, that's plenty.